Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Through My Eyes, A Life with MS. You are listening to Lauren Parrott, and this show is about how I feel like I don't fit in with the norm. But I've realized that that's okay. It's taken me many years to realize that, but I've discovered that it's okay because I am my own person. My life is different because I'm living with multiple sclerosis. But that is all I know. I really don't remember what life is like to not have MS. The only thing that I can remember was I remember running, being able to run. That's when I was like 14 and 15 years old. Because my symptoms started when I was 16 years old. So I remember that I loved it, and I used to do it all the time. I loved running. But that is the only thing that I can remember. But I wanted to talk about how I know that I'm very different. I feel like I'm different than normal people. And not just because I have multiple sclerosis. I'm also a very public person, and I have always wanted to help other people that are living with multiple sclerosis. When I was 23, this was in 2007, I had a relapse, and it's been my only relapse, and I remember it was the scariest thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life. And I told my mom, I said, when this relapse is over, I am going to make a video and put it on YouTube so that I can explain to people what happens during a relapse. And she looked at me and she said, Lauren, she said, you need to show people what a relapse is like, because that's what you want to see. That's what you want to know. And I actually have a background in television, and so I said, okay, I had my dad actually film me. I was in the hospital. That's how it started, because I was thinking, I was so scared. Literally, I couldn't do anything, and if you've ever had a relapse, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But, I couldn't walk. I couldn't really see, and I'm sure a lot of you know. But the only thing I could think was, I'm not the only one in the world who is going through this. So I put a video on YouTube, just hoping to find another 23-year-old girl. And I ended up hearing from people of, different races, different religions, from all over the world. And so the YouTube video that I just wanted to find another 23-year-old girl, became something so entirely different and wonderful and amazing. And I absolutely love my YouTube videos because I feel like we can connect to each other so well. And so I know my life is different, but I know that there's several other people in the world that I can relate to, and we can be different together. We all have our own story. Everyone has their own battles that they're facing, but we can get through it. And I want to explain to you that having multiple sclerosis isn't the only thing that makes me different. I feel like for everyone with MS, nobody in the world incredibly similar. Even twins are different, you know, like we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. So I just want to talk about a couple things that have really stood out in my mind, that have made me feel that I'm different. But I'm going to talk to you about why that's okay. Why being different is okay. First, I would like to talk about college for a little bit. It was different for me, but through my eyes, I was seeing how easy it was for everyone else. I remember watching people running on campus, and I can't run anymore, and that made me very upset because, you know, I was watching people running and they were doing something that I wish I could do still, and it was really difficult for me. And I also have a vivid memory of people playing volleyball in a courtyard. It was a courtyard when I lived in an apartment complex, and it was hot outside. It was the summer, and they were playing volleyball, and they were having a blast. They were having so much fun, but it was hot, and they were sweating, and I was thinking I could never do that, you know, and they were laughing, and I mean, they were loud, and everybody was watching them, and I thought, oh my gosh, I wish I could be doing that. But then I thought about it, and years later, it's like, well, it's okay because, you know, they were probably getting sun damage, or, you know, I tried to make the best of the situation, and I had my own fun. You know, I had fun with my friends, and I didn't have to play volleyball in the courtyard to have a good time. But that was just something I remember that I couldn't do, that really made me upset, that made me feel different. And it's okay though. It's okay because I was able to find other ways to you know, have fun with my friends. Another thing that I remember from college was I went to Michigan State University, and I remember I went to a basketball game. I love basketball. And the student section at Michigan State University is called the Izzone, because our coach is Coach Tom Izzo. And so the Izzone is the student cheering section, and it's like there's several seats in the section, and it is so fun. And it was the only time I was able to go. I went with my friend Jim. He took me, and it was like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest. This is going to be so much fun. And we went there, and everybody was jumping up and down on the bleachers, going crazy. Like, everybody was going nuts. And I tried jumping up and down, and I felt like I was going to fall over. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. And so I just stood there, and I kind of like raised my hands in the air, pretending like I was jumping. But that made me feel really bad. You know, I felt really different because everybody else was having a blast, and I couldn't do what everybody else was doing. And so that kind of made me upset. You know, it made me upset because I couldn't have fun like everybody else was having fun. But I had my own fun, you know. I was able to meet friends. Like, I tried to turn situations into positives. So no, I couldn't jump up and down like everybody else, but I watched the game, I talked to people, made new friends, and I made the best of the situation. Now, another thing I want to talk about is, you know, at my age, because I'm 34, so at my age, a lot of people are getting married or have been married, and through my eyes, I watch all of my friends and family having, these wonderful relationships, and then they're having children, and I feel like after you're finished with school, whether you finish high school or you finish college or grad school or whatever it may be, I feel like that's the next step, is to get married. And through my eyes, I felt like a failure because I'm not married, and so I'm watching everyone else. I've even been in several weddings, and it's difficult for me. I feel like I'm different, like always a bridesmaid, never the bride. And I feel like it's so easy for people to find their mates. It has, like, me from the outside looking in, I feel like I'm different, because everybody else has found their mate, found their match, and I haven't. And so it makes me feel bad, but at the same time, I try to take the positive out of this situation. And I realized I am not the only person who is not married at this point. And that's okay, because, I'm really, I'm like, well, maybe it's not meant to be yet. And it's taken me years to get to that point, but it's okay to be different. I would rather be happy, because I am happy. I try to make the best of every situation, and I would rather be happy and be single than be in an unhappy relationship. And again, it's taken me years to come to that point, but I'm okay with it. I'm finally okay with that. And another thing is, it's been very hard for me to watch people having children. It's hurtful because I would like to be a mother so badly, but I know that having children would be very dangerous for my body. And I have read this over and over and over again, and I've read that during pregnancy, women do incredibly well. They do very, very well, and your MS, it like goes away. It goes into remission because your body goes into a protective mode for the baby. But then after delivery, some people have relapses and don't do so well, and that scares me to death. And when I was first diagnosed, a nurse told my mom, I was only 18 years old, and a nurse told my mom, she said, she's going to be okay while having MS. It's not the end of the world. She is going to be okay. She said, but tell her not to have her own children. And I was crushed. I can't even tell you. I was 18 years old, and I was sobbing in my kitchen when my mom told me that story, because that's all I wanted. I wanted to be a mom, and having a professional, in that field telling you that that's not a good idea, it crushed me. And it still hurts, but I'm older, I'm more mature, and I have talked to several people, and I am thinking, I'm like, well, you know what, I think that might be the best thing for me, to not deliver my own children. I am a public speaker, and I remember I always talk to girls, especially my women my age. I always talk to them to ask if they have children and if they delivered their own babies. And I will never forget this story. It just sticks out in my head. There was a woman I was talking to, and she has 3 kids. She has MS, and she has delivered 3 children. And she told me, she said, "Oh my gosh, Lauren," she said, "you should definitely have kids. Definitely." She's like, "It is the best thing when you're pregnant. You don't have MS and it's wonderful and you feel so great." She said to me, she said, "I mean, I can't feel my feet anymore. They went numb." She said, "But you should have your own kids." And when she said that to me, I shook my head and I said, "Okay, thank you for telling me that." And I would have never said this to her, but I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, but I want to feel my feet. I don't want to have a relapse. I don't want to have horrible things happen to me solely because I delivered a child. So it's been a really, really hard thing for me. But I was a nanny for a little girl. Her name is Isla. I actually made a YouTube video so you can see her. I was her nanny, and I loved that little girl like she was my own. And that was one of the best experiences in my life because I learned how much you can love a baby that you didn't actually deliver. And I just, from the time I was 18, I thought my life was over. I thought that, I thought that I would never be able to have what I wanted, which is, to get married and have children. And then I was her nanny, and I thought I could do this. I love that little girl, and I would do anything for her. And she wasn't even my own blood. So, try to turn the negative situation into a positive. And I learned that you can love a child even if you don't give birth to the child. And so that's how I turned that situation into a positive. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the future? When I was 25 years old, I was in a long-term relationship. And so I thought, I'm like, oh, this is easy. I'm going to marry my boyfriend. We're going to have kids. And that's my life. Well, it didn't quite happen. It didn't happen the way I thought it was going to. So who knows what's going to happen in the future? I really don't know. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. And I found a couple quotes that I wanted to read, and I was looking on the internet. I was trying to find why it's okay to be different, because I am different and I'm fine. I'm like okay with it. I didn't used to be okay with it, but I'm okay with that. I'm doing my own thing and I'm doing what works for me. And that's all right. So I found this quote, and it says, "Why would it even matter if anyone else thought negatively towards you? If you are happy with the way you are, that's all that should matter. Surround yourself with people that make you feel great about yourself, not people who make you want to change. No one else can be who you are. Does that not make you feel amazing?" And I read that quote and I thought, oh my gosh, that does make me feel really good, because I am really happy with the person who I've become, living with multiple sclerosis and all. I am very happy with the way that I am. So I don't want to be with people who make me feel bad about myself. And I think it's important for all of us, for everyone, to surround yourself by people that encourage you and people that make you feel good about yourself. Because when you're surrounded by people who are negative and make you feel badly, it can only lead to negative situations. It can only be negative things. So I also read this. It says, "Stop hiding what makes you different and learn to embrace every part of who you are." And that can be very difficult. That can be really hard, especially, when it says stop hiding what makes you different and learn to embrace every part of who you are. Well, I cannot hide what makes me different because I have symptoms. So I look different, I talk different, but I've learned that's okay. It's okay because I'm happy with myself. I've come a long way. It's been 17 years and I am trying to make the best of every situation. So I don't try to hide what makes me different. And I really do try to embrace every part of who I am. And I wanted to read, there are a couple other things that I wanted to read. I found this website and it says, being different helps you make a difference. Your differences stand out, and the world needs them. New ideas, perspectives, and actions are required if you want to positively impact the world. Progress will never be made if you're just like everyone else. So, how can you make a difference? I think that's really important. Differences, they stand out, and the world does need. That's why we're not all the same. It's important to be different. Having new ideas and new perspectives, they are required if you want to positively impact the world. The second thing is, relationships don't always require having things in common. It says, do you feel as though you have to put on an act to make or keep friends? Maybe you need a reminder that friendships require much more than having things in common. In fact, it's said that opposites attract. Your differences can complement each other, and you don't have to worry about being in competition. In some cases, your differences may positively push each other outside of your comfort zones. So, how can you embrace your differences in your friendships? Well, I thought about that, and, my girlfriend is, an amazing athlete, and I'm not. And because of my multiple sclerosis, I can't really be an athlete. But we're very different in that way, but I love supporting her. So, we push each other outside of our comfort zones because she helps me learn different ways to play games, and then I might record her on video, which she's not comfortable with, but I am, and so we help each other, we push each other, and it's great. The third thing, you can use your differences to teach other people. What you try to hide or cover up could be the very thing another person wants to learn. Instead of making excuses for your differences, explain and teach others about them. This will help you connect with others and learn to love every part of yourself. So what could you teach others about your differences? Well, explaining things, teaching people, I think that's really important, and that's definitely what I have done on my YouTube channel. I try to explain things and teach people about the things that I'm going through, and more than not, other people can totally relate to what I'm talking about. So even though I think that I'm very different, I can be similar to other people, especially others living with multiple sclerosis. We're different in our own ways, but we're also similar in a lot of ways, and that's great. It's okay to be different. I think it's a great thing. And lastly, it says successful people are different. Individuals who are successful typically pave their way because of their differences and their willingness to take risks. Well, I say that when you are living with multiple sclerosis, you are very, very successful if you're able to keep a positive attitude and get through the day while living with a challenge. So that in itself is an incredible success. So, yes, I am very different, but that is okay because I'm very successful in my own right. And I found this quote that I absolutely love. And it's from Dr. Seuss. But I thought that it was really it sort of talks about exactly what I'm talking about. And the quote is, "Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you." I just love that quote. It's so simple, but so true. I'm going to read it again because I think it is so cute. Okay. Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. I thought that was really cute. So thank you, Dr. Seuss. So anyway, I hope that that you were interested in this. I just wanted to sort of reiterate what I was talking about. Being different is okay. I think it's important to pull the positives out of every situation, and also remember that as long as you are happy with yourself, that's all that matters. Because we try so hard to get through a day, and as long as you are happy with yourself and you're proud with your accomplishments, that's all that matters. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.